Hi, today we're playing BALLxPIT, or BALLxPIT, however you want to say it. It is just the latest indie sensation to be taking the world by storm. It is currently sitting at 1,500 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. And we're playing the demo today, I should add. I don't know if a demo has a restricted kind of like feature, thing going on. Maybe there's less kinds of balls to pick up or whatever, but I haven't bought the game just yet. I absolutely will at some point in the future, but I wanted to check it out. Love when a game has a demo, and so far it doesn't really feel like I've hit any walls in terms of, oh, you're only playing the demo version, bud. I did see a few people talking about this game, and I kind of, as happens, you see people talking about a game, you go, oh, okay, that's cool, whatever. Like, and then I found out it was a ball launching, brick breaking kind of a game. It was a Breakout style of game, but in the vein of like a roguelite. And my face lit up because I actually booted up the Atari Arcade Vault game, not the new one, but the old one, just to play some Breakout the other day. I was in the mood for some brick breaking, and I was put in mind of all of those old Flash games which had fun spins on these kinds of games. And I think I went looking on Steam, and I saw that Atari themselves had published a new Breakout game by an indie developer that was apparently just not that great, unfortunately, and in general there just wasn't much that really met the brick breaking quota. But now there's this game, and I will say it doesn't quite scratch the brick breaking itch in terms of your traditional brick breaking style of game. You're not like a paddle. It's not super important to like catch the ball and throw it back, although I did learn you do actually still do that. This is my second ever run that you're watching right now, and I think it was towards the end or maybe at the beginning of the third that I read something that made me realize, oh, I should be trying to catch these balls as they come back to me, instead of just assuming. For a while I was just assuming they hit the bottom and bounce back up. So there's still an element of this after all, but no, this game is far more fast paced, as you can see. It's more kind of bullet hell / bullet heaven. It's kind of a mix of the two, if we're being honest. And in between runs, I haven't fully fathomed this side of a game yet, but in between runs you do have kind of a settlement that you build up, where you can like grow wheat and mine rocks and stuff like that, and build buildings to unlock new characters. And you do get resources for that stuff if you do well enough in this game. I think if you get to the point where you don't really have any more slots for upgrades to go into, you do just start getting resources instead. Oh wait, never mind, I just got some there. I don't know. Perhaps it is just random then. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm still not super familiar with this game. But if you haven't got the gist already, the idea is that as you kill enough enemies and they drop various things, you will end up picking up special kinds of balls which do special kinds of things. Like I've just got one that shoots out horizontal lines sometimes when it damages enemies. There are ones which do bleed damage, which freeze enemies in place, which poison enemies, the kind of stuff you would expect. But there's also some fun stuff. There's like an earthquake one which does a bit of AoE damage. But the really cool and fun feature with this game is eventually you get the ability to fuse balls together. Not just to unlock a slot for a new ball to come into, but also to make the balls more potent and effective. We're trying not to giggle when we talk about balls in this episode, okay? Stay strong. So what you'll see is I have a fireball which sets enemies on fire and does ticking burning damage, and I have a horizontal laser ball, as I've already mentioned, but eventually I will be able to fuse the two and have it so that when the horizontal laser goes off, it burns all the enemies on that row, and then they're all taking ticking burning damage. You know what I mean? And I think in the trailer they said there's at least like 60 types of base ball, and they can all be fused, and then sometimes you can fuse fused balls together as well. And that's really fun. I will say there are a lot which are quite basic, like, oh, if I fuse this ball with this ball, it's just the same as having each individual ball, except it's one ball that does both things and I have space for another ball. I was running into some more unique fusions in my first run, it felt like, but maybe that was just me not seeing through the game design. But I feel like in these two runs that I'm showing you today, maybe not so much. All the same, it's a really fun premise and I'm really enjoying it. I've been told that this game takes some cues from Peglin, which is kind of like a Peggle style roguelite game, and I did look at Peglin and I realized, yeah, I would love that game too, so that's also on my wish list for a while. Listen, I spent my gaming money on a lot of comics this month, so that's why we're wishlisting things and playing the demos instead of outright buying them. But yeah, I bit my tongue, ow! I don't have too much else to say on BALLxPIT other than It's fun. You should go check it out. Maybe I'll play more demos on the Weekly Waypoint in the future. I was a little concerned today because if you hadn't noticed, I've been doing some bonus videos this week. I did one where I played and talked about Legends Z-A, Pokémon Legends Z-A, the game that just came out. And I did one where I talked about finishing my first Metroidvania game, which is Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. And if you know Castlevania, you might be going, oh, that was your first Castlevania? Yeah, I had a really good time and I loved it. And if you want to hear more about that, I have a separate video about it. But that makes me wonder, well, what the hell am I going to do with the Weekly Waypoint this week? Because these are the kinds of topics which I would talk about in the Weekly Waypoint. But that's kind of why I decided, let's just showcase an indie game. That'll be fun. So speaking of indie games, there is also a game called Necesse, which I have not played much of. It's Necesse, and it is kind of like if Terraria was like top down in the way that Stardew Valley is, in the way that controls and looks, you know. It's also a lot like Core Keeper if you've ever played that. But yeah, there was a free weekend for this game back in, I think it was like February or something, and I played a bit of it with Reese. We never played a huge amount of it, but it was enough to go, oh, while this game might look kind of like not rough, but it looks very rudimentary in terms of gameplay style and presentation from the outside. When you actually get into it and play it, it's very, very charming, like immediately. It is actually more polished than it looks from the outside. I don't know how to explain it, but at first glance this game does not look like anything special, but it kind of is. And that's getting a lot of very positive reviews as well since it came out 1.0 launch. And that is a game I picked up as well because it came out cheap. And so I'm going to be spending more time with that game when I get the time, because there are so many good games that I'm playing right now. And despite making videos about them, I will give you updates on them all the same, because days have passed since those videos, and wouldn't you know it, I've formed new, fresh opinions as I've got further through these games. So, without further ado, I haven't got all that much further through Pokémon Legends Z-A, but I have been... I mean, the reason I haven't is because I've just been getting lost exploring. And that's funny because I'm sure people on the internet have told you that this game is a copy-paste Streets simulator and there's nothing worth exploring. They're wrong. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that exploration is fascinating or anything, but I am suitably getting sidetracked from objectives instead of doing them. Like at the minute I have this story thing where I have to go fight 3 rogue mega evolutions, and those are some really fun boss fights, by the way, but I just keep getting sidetracked. I'm running towards my objective, and then I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, there's a little scaffolding puzzle to do here so I can get a colourful screw. And colourful screws are good because they allow you to like upgrade like catch rates and like basic player health and stuff. So that's always good to pursue, but it's also just fun. And then I keep seeing like ladders or teleportations up to the top of rooftops and going, sure, I'll see what's up at the top of this one. And while it might not have a lot of visual variety in terms of how it looks to explore the rooftops, it is a fun little rooftop maze to like be like, oh, and then I can get over to here from this one by going over this little section, and over there's a Pokemon outside a wild area, and it's one that I haven't really seen yet. So it's just kind of engaging in that way. I can see it maybe growing stale after like 40-50 hours, but at the minute I still feel like there's plenty to like go and explore and find. It's fun. I am finding exploring Lumiose interesting in the same way that I found exploring like GTA 3 interesting as a kid, you know what I mean? Sure, there might not be a lot of biome diversity, but there are lots of nooks and crannies to go and find, and in Pokemon Legends, yeah, you actually get rewarded for finding them, whereas before in GTA 3, it was just kind of my own childlike curiosity that was being sated. But yeah, beyond that, just everything I already said in my Legends Z-A video, which did pretty well, thank you for checking that out. On those kind of talky B-roll styles of videos, I feel like I don't usually have time to go and grab B-roll footage, and I still don't to the extent that people who do this for a job do. You might notice if you watch any of their kinds of videos, they're sometimes swapping between like various different types of gameplay to match the things that they're talking about and stuff, and I do that to an extent here, but yeah. I decided to go out of my way to go grab some B-roll, and I think it worked out pretty well. Of course, the best part about going out and getting B-roll for like a video on a Pokemon game is you get to play the Pokemon game as part of getting the B-roll, so that's always nice. I did the same thing for Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance, but that one did not hit the algorithm, so I will just go over very quickly what I experienced with that game. Harmony of Dissonance was my first time finishing any Metroidvania, but also any Castlevania, or even playing any Castlevania to like a decent extent. Actually, scratch that, beyond the NES title, it was my first time playing a Castlevania game at all. Mostly, whatever. Anyway, I had such a good time, and it's so satisfying just exploring the castle and filling out the map and figuring out eventually, like, oh, I finally found how to get this item and now I can go back and open this door or jump up this ledge or so on and so forth and see what's over there. And the combat as you play through the game is really fun too, and I just had such a good time with it. And it's interesting because Harmony of Dissonance is not a fan favorite. It's not like maligned or anything, but it's just the general impression I get from Castlevania fans is that, you know, it exists. And at first I couldn't really understand that stance because I had such a good time with the game, but I was aware that a lot of what I was really enjoying about the game was just me experiencing the Castlevania formula for the first time. And I have since picked up Aria of Sorrow. I'm like maybe an hour into it, honestly, but I can immediately tell that it is a much better game. It's like I'd never seen the color blue before, right? And I see pale blue and I'm like, wow, what an incredible, striking, amazing color. This is so good. And then someone shows me like deep blue and I'm like, oh, this is blue. Okay. That other thing, it is blue, but it's not as blue as this blue. And this is a really bad metaphor because actually one of the things that people criticize Harmony of Dissonance for is being too colourful. But hopefully that metaphor works. Again, I'm only an hour in, but in Aria of Sorrow, I mean, the character immediately controls tighter, has much more fluid animations. I like that you can equip different weapons, which, you know, affect how you fight. I love that you can absorb different monster powers. I now see where, Symphony of the Moon, Ritual of the Night, whatever it's called, that game, got that from. And honestly, yeah, now I just want to play every Metroidvania game ever made. I want to play all the Castlevanias I own, I want to play all the Metroids which are on NSO, and I want to go through all the indie Vania titles, and I feel like I've finally gotten over the hurdle, right, that makes me bounce off these games, which is I get lost, I get frustrated trying to figure out where to go, I'm too stubborn to try and use a guide to help me, and then I just drop the game. This time, I actually used a guide to help me figure out where to go, and I found out that using a guide and figuring out how to find the right guidance in general is compelling in itself and part of the Metroidvania experience, at least in my opinion. And so I will now be doing that, and I will not let myself bounce off of games because I get lost. What I'm saying is, watch this space. I'm probably about to play a ton more of these kinds of games. I realize I've had a very RPG, like turn-based RPG heavy year, and so I think my mind now craves action games, which might also be another reason why I'm getting on so well with Pokémon Legends Z-A. But also that game is getting very heavily discoursed, and I would be wary of the opinions of anyone who has not outright stated that they have played it themselves. Even though people are playing it themselves and finding it mediocre, there's also a huge amount of people who are just absorbing negative opinions about it because they want to have negative opinions about it and they're never going to pick it up and play it themselves. That's my new phrase, by the way. I was talking about Halo with some people and how it's now dead, or at least it's dead to me, because apparently the next title is just going to be an AI slop fest. Like, the art director quit and did a big post on his LinkedIn about it. You can go look it up if you like. And someone mentioned how Halo Infinite was bad, and I was like, no, Halo Infinite was great. It just got, well, discoursed, basically. And they were like, oh, I've never played it. And I'm like, exactly! You know, the campaign had a lack of variety, the story didn't really hit, but beyond that, it's a fantastic Halo game, and a definite step up from previous titles in recent years too, and yeah, that's what I mean when I say a game gets discoursed. Anyway, rest in peace, John Halo. I should also update you on World of Warcraft Legion Remix. I have been slowing down on that. I've been playing a bunch of it, but I still haven't quite finished all the story zones. I'm near the end of Stormheim, and then I've just got Suramar to go. But I have earned enough bronze through like dailies and dungeons and raids and stuff to buy all of the you know, Legion Remix exclusive transmogs, you know, not like the ones that drop from raids and stuff already, but like the exclusive event only transmogs, which aren't that crazy but are fun to have. And I think every mount, if not every mount, then most mounts available right now. Not like the Order Hall recolor mounts, those cost a lot, but like the Legion Remix exclusive mount recolors, at least for this phase. But I think you know, I can say I'm doing pretty well on that front. Obviously, I'm not doing as crazily well as someone who just plays WoW all day, every day. I'm sure people have their infinite knowledge capped and, like, their bronze capped and shit already, you know, people be like that. But no, I've been having a great time. This week's weekly waypoint was almost me doing world quests on heroic world tier, but I thought this would be more interesting and provide more to talk about. But yeah, earlier in the week, I did do the Emerald Nightmare on Mythic difficulty. I was, like, eye level 590, and people were only accepting people of eye level, like, 640, 650, because that's how pre-mades be. So I just formed my own pre-made, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine, of course, and we bopped Emerald Nightmare in about 15 minutes flat. I, you know, inspected the floor a few times, but it's fine. And I know that's on, like, a daily lockout. It's not really something you're just supposed to do once and go, I did it, but I did do it once and go, I did it, because it comes with an achievement and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of wish they made it so that LFR in Remix allowed you to queue for Mythic difficulty stuff, because I can't be arsed with fucking around with the group finder every single time, you know. It takes longer to form a group than it does to do the raid, and that's just annoying. I really should know, because you do get a lot of rewards from running the raid, but whatever. But yeah, it's a fun time. I love revisiting Legion. Now, before we end today's episode, I just want to talk about one last thing, and that's that on the second channel, Kritigri Talk Stories, which, if you do not know, is where I go to review comics and novels and TV shows and stuff like that, movies, stories generally speaking, hence the name. I just dropped a pretty big video over there where I did a bookshelf tour, but strictly for, like, my graphic novels and my manga and my kind of, like, lore books or world books or whatever you want to call those hardback coffee table books, which, you know, like Warcraft Chronicle and Encyclopedia Eorzea and all that stuff. And I had a really fun time with it, so if you're curious to see just what I've got going on my shelves, you can go ahead and give that video a little watch. Look at me plugging my own content, I know! Just to give a general overview as well of the stories I'm consuming right now. I hate saying it that way, but it's the easiest, most efficient way to say it. I'm currently reading Superman Birthright, which is one of the new compact comics I ordered recently. I'm also reading Dark Victory, the Batman comic, because of the back catalogue. I'm kind of reading two comics side by side. Also reading 4, so that's 3 comics side by side. Oh god, I really am getting deep into this rabbit hole. But also, I've been watching Better Call Saul on Netflix, because Reese has been watching Breaking Bad and reminding me how amazing it is, and that reminded me that I never got very far through Better Call Saul, and as of right now, I've just watched up to the point that I originally watched up to when it was coming out, and that's like halfway through season 2. But yeah, that show's incredible. I don't know if I'm gonna, like, do a show review. I'll probably do one, but anyway. It's so good. But yeah, still technically reading The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Still technically reading Ship of Destiny for like a year. Trust me, like, there are so many things that I've got bookmarks in, I'll go crazy if I kind of take stock of all of them. But that's just me. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked this episode, and I will catch you in whatever I make next.